The Kremlin has developed strategies to restore Russia's influence on the domestic politics of the countries of the Baltic region, the Dossier Center reports. Investigators have obtained documents that reveal Moscow's great plans for Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. They were developed in the Border Relations Department of the Presidential Administration of Russia with the assistance of special services.
In 2021, the Kremlin's plans were formulated in documents called Strategic Goals of the Russian Federation in the Estonian, Latvian and Lithuanian directions. Restoration of relations between Russia and the Baltic countries. Formation of a soft power network of organizations advocating cooperation with Russia. Prevention of the militarization of countries and the creation of new NATO bases on their territory. Recruitment of Baltic businessmen with the help of promises to open the Russian market for them in their countries, change their policy towards Moscow. Preservation of common historical memory and Soviet monuments from the investigation of the Dossier Center.
Particular attention in the Kremlin strategies was given to the so-called exclusion of discrimination against the Russian-speaking population and the preservation of education in Russian. By 2030, the Kremlin hoped to achieve the recognition of the Russian language as the state language in Latvia. Analysts, having familiarized themselves with Putin's plans for Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia, called them at least naive and those that would not find support among the local population.
Now the situation is changing dramatically. Many people who used to be less critical of Russian foreign policy goals after the start of a full-scale war of Russia against Ukraine began to treat this more negatively, because it is difficult to identify with the massacres in Bucha, Mariupol and other Ukrainian cities. We saw all this live, and it affects many Russian speakers. Evgeny Kristofovich, lawyer, human rights activist, director of the Tallinn Center for the European Initiatives, in a comment for Voice of America.
In 2022, more than 100 objects believed to glorify the Soviet Union were dismantled in Latvia, and this number was set to increase. One of them is a concrete obelisk with Soviet stars. Part of the monument was demolished in Riga in August 2022.
Finally, the scar that's been left by the Soviet Union falling. This is a monumental day for Latvia. Finally, we get to get rid of the past and look forward.
Lithuania, in which the Kremlin also planned to restore influence in March 2023, called on the international community to recognize Russia as a terrorist state. The Lithuanians themselves remain calm, but are preparing for a possible conflict with Russia. In 2022, there was even a surge of people willing to volunteer for the army of Lithuania.
I remember what it was like to live under Soviet rule when Lithuania was occupied. Never again. They want to come back here, but they will not come back. At least I will be one of those who will not let them come here.
Estonia, in turn, plans to purchase equipment for territorial defense in the amount of 132 million euros. This decision was made against the backdrop of Russia's war against Ukraine, the Estonian Defense Ministry said. The country supports the creation of a tribunal for the crime of Russian aggression against Ukraine.
We will help to ensure that there will be no impunity, no immunity for the crimes of Russians, including the crime of aggression, bringing Russian leaders to justice for genocide, for crimes against humanity. This is the goal we are moving towards.
Experts are convinced that the Kremlin's activities in the Baltic countries, excessive nostalgia for the Soviet past, support for the Russian-speaking population, promoting narratives of dissatisfaction with Western politics, and launching a full-scale war against Ukraine did not produce the desired results of supporting the Putin regime. Crude Russian propaganda has led to the fact that relations between Russia and its closest neighbors are becoming increasingly cold, and support for Ukraine by the world community is growing. Reported by Roman Smoler, Angelika Brushnevska, UATV News.